Welcome back to Greenlands, and today we're going to be doing a bit of work around the yard, as you will have seen from the thumbnail, putting some new sheds in, putting in the biomass heating plant, and we're then going to get into our beef cattle, which means doing some grass work to cut that beforehand, and then maybe a bit more grass work just to do final cut of the year, while we wait for the sugar beets to be ready. So let's roll the intro. So just checking on the BGA, you will see that we are full of electric charge. So we need to set that to selling, and that will start to bring some cash in for us. We could put that through a generator through the modular BGA pack, but I'm just going to put it to selling for now. We could do with storing a little bit for charging our vehicles and refueling the methane powered ones. And then if we go over here, we can see we have still the over 700,000 litres of chaff to ferment, and the grass silage bales are still fermenting. They've got a way to go because we've only just made them. I think we will go to sleep at this point, probably. Just having a quick check on things. Yeah, go to sleep. We'll then check on the animals and then get into working on the yard. So I have decided that we're going to use the grass field behind the sheep pen to expand the yard. That's going to involve some heavy landscaping, and I do have the free landscaping mod on because landscaping in FS is just stupidly expensive. Silage is pretty much fermented, so that's going to be going to feed the cows mostly. Obviously the stuff that's in the fermenting silos is going straight into the BGA using the distributing function. Need to feed the cows. The sheep are good. We fed those last time. So let's jump in the feed mixer. And so originally I was hoping that we could harvest the beets. So I do end up moving all of this kit across to the next shed so that we can put the beets in here. That's me kind of pondering in my head as I think about doing that. Yeah, we'll get all this stuff moved and then start looking at expanding the yard. So I'm recording all of the voiceover for this after I have recorded the gameplay, just how it worked out. I had planned to do this when I had chance, but it didn't work out. It's been a really tiring week. Life's kind of beating me up at the moment, so making the video this way, I think it still works. There's obviously a little bit of me remembering what I did at each point, because I haven't made decent notes on this one. I think actually we leave feeding the cows because I think I saved this for when we get the beef cattle in. I had some real decision paralysis again on this one. I was going to jump straight into getting the beef cattle, and I just couldn't decide on what I wanted to do. I ended up doing exactly what I've been talking about doing, putting in a really large open cattle pasture in the big grass field behind the cow barn, but I just didn't want to commit to it. And yeah, it's almost like I was worried about doing the wrong thing. But you'll see in a moment, I'm about to completely destroy the field behind the sheep pasture to put in the biomass heating plant by Vertex Designs. We'll get to that at some point. And some sheds. I did actually plan to put more sheds in, and I did actually put them in. But I had some issues. I then went on to try and cut some trees down, and things went wrong, and so I ended up going back to a safe backup and got on with some stuff, and then drove past where I thought I'd put the sheds, and they weren't there. Turns out I went back up too far. But yeah, if we need them, we can put them back in. I'm actually probably going to use the space for something else. I'm toying with some other production placeables that I want to put in. Just looking at what we made from the BGA, so we made about 100 grand so far. That's basically limited by the speed that the two fermenting silos are putting silage out into the BGA. The BGA processes it within the hour. Everything that comes out of them goes straight into the BGA and goes straight through. So that's not a problem. I think we need to get on with some being stuck, because I parked this guy too close to the shed. So I am really enjoying the setup we have here. We get this hay part of the shed much fuller in a bit because we make some grass silage and some hay silage. I think we've probably got more hay than we're going to need in a very long time. So I'm just trying to remember what we're doing next. I think we're headed to the store. We're going to go back here. Sorry, it's come back to me. We're going to go and pick up all of the stuff I have down at the store still. So we've got another slurry tanker, potato planter, and a few other bits, which I did. Right. Let's have it. So this is the biomass heating plant that I want to put in. Vertex Designs, and then there are some sheds which I think are built into the map, which I end up going with. These lizard ones. In fact, this lizard one, which I think is quite nice. I was tempted to put one in over where those trees are, which is where I talked about cutting down trees, but that didn't work at all. So I'm just playing around with where I think I want to place things, and which sheds I want to use. Yeah, I think we're going to go there. So what we're going to do is we're going to roughly paint out what I think is a big enough area for that shed, and then we'll start working on leveling it all and smoothing it, because obviously there's quite a steep bank on this shed once we get up past that silage clamp. So yeah, I couldn't decide to put in an open cow pasture, but I obliterate the terrain around this field now, because we need to just cut into this hillside quite a lot. And yeah, this is going to be our yard expansion. Just trying to lift the terrain up on the edge of that fermenting silo, but it doesn't seem to want to, so make a bit of a mess, but we do manage to get it back into something vaguely sensible. This should then be big enough to put that first shed in. And yeah, these are the sheds that come with the map. They used a lot on this yard anyway, so it's quite cool to use the same ones because it gives us, some consistency across the farm, which I quite like. Just playing there with the ramp function, which really didn't work, so we're going to use smooth and level. And we'll take the Deutz round just to see what it's like to drive round. Probably need to expand the asphalt area a little bit, but it looks pretty good to me. So let's get the shed in. This terrain does need a little bit of smoothing underneath the shed still, because the shed doesn't level the terrain. So do need to still do a bit of work there, but we now need to cut most of this hillside away so that we can put in the biomass heating plant. If you're on Discord, you will have seen me have a little rant about this mod. Because it's a really nice concept, it's a really nice looking mod, but the economics are screwed. So depending on when if you made wood chips, depending on when you sell them, this biomass heating plant makes you about a third of the money as you download it, compared to just selling wood chips, and straw is about 60%. So what I've done is edit the production a bit so that it produces a bit more electricity, because what's the point in having it? You spend 160 grand on a production, you pay to run the production, and you lose money. That doesn't work for me. So yeah, I have edited it to produce more electricity so that you make some profit. If you want to see the numbers, we'll come to them when I start using it in the game. They're also on my Discord of what I've put in, and it makes it so that you make, I think, about 50% more, something like that. And that's for the work you have to do, and the investment. So I finally work out that I can't landscape that because I'm standing there watching. So yeah, we do need to move me out of the way, and then we can get this area landscaped and then painted. And yeah, sorry, as I said, I couldn't decide to put a cow pasture in, but I've obliterated this field. We don't need the land for grass at all. We have a lot of grassland. Even when we put the grapes in and lose those grass fields, I think we'll be fine for grass. And the plan is, so the other productions that I'm looking at is there's a small dairy, which I'm probably going to put in, given that we've got a big dairy farm. There was another one as well, which I have now forgotten because I'm old and forgetful. But yeah, we're definitely going to have a little dairy on here. It's off the mod hub. It's about 40 grand. Does cheese, butter, and actually chocolate as well. And because I'm probably going to do sugar with the sugar beet, we could end up getting into making chocolate on here, which would be kind of cool. Getting into production. So this is me thinking about where I'm going to put the sheds that I put in, and then we lose because of me having to go back to a backed up save. I might put them in. I might put the dairy in here. I might put the dairy over by the cows. I'm not sure yet. I also have the potato mod installed, and we'll be doing that because we're going to do spuds next year. Obviously we've got the potato planter, so we're good to go with that. So yeah, we lost that because I had to go back to a backup. What we're going to do is we're going to mow this field. I'm going to go and get a forage wagon, and we're going to put that into the fermenting silos so that we can make some grass silage with it. And again, feed the BGA the fermenting silos process in parallel. I have a video coming on parallel processing and productions, probably a day or so after this, but the fermenting silos do produce in parallel, so that's kind of cool. We can double the amount of silage that we're putting out. We're just leasing the big Strautmann forage wagon. It's a bit heavy for this tractor actually. Should have gone for maybe something smaller, and that goes back to what I've said in the past. I think that we probably need another high horsepower tractor that's not like the Class. Maybe we could have used the Class, we could have taken the jewels off the Class, but this is not high enough horsepower for some jobs on this farm. And also I set course play up wrong. It had only detected the front mower for the width, not the rear mower, so a little bit of faffing to get that sorted. And then I think we're going to grab the windrower, take the first headland, half headland, part headland off, but we then grab the windrower to tidy it up, because otherwise we're going to have to do a lot of laps to get all of these little bits of grass, and that's just not sensible. So we're going to windrow those 3 partial rows to turn them into one. Yeah, I'm not going to show you too much of this because we've done a lot of grass work, as I said. You don't need to see that. We've got the 2 big four grass fields basically to our left at the moment that we have to mow still. And I need to remember that you can't see me moving my hands about as I talk. It's something that I do in the real world in my job. It serves no purpose, but let's get this stuff windrowed up, and then we can get it collected and into the fermenting silos. And what I'm going to do is basically each time we fill the loading wagon up, put it into a different one. We've got 2 of them, we might as well fill them as much as we can. I think we get about a couple 100,000 litres of grass off of this field. It is a big field, and the open cow pasture that I'm going to put in is by Elk Mountain Ranch. I have edited it so that it can hold 500 cows. It holds 250 by default, but we've got such a big area. I thought we would go big on here, and it's going to be our beef pasture. We might not fill it, and we may never get to the 500, but I don't want to have a limit on how many we could put in there. So yeah, slightly inspired by Maypole Farm, which has sheds that hold 500s of cows, I think, or maybe 700 cows. Anyway, let's tip this load into here, and then I think I am going to jump ahead a fair bit. I don't remember if I show me filling it up again or not. You can see the mowers are going much quicker than we can, and that's before we fill this thing up. And we do this field and the field on our left now as silage, and it produces quite a lot, and pulling it up the hill is really quite hard work. The mowing is done. We just need to finish getting this collected up in the forage wagon. So I'm really keen to get into productions on here. I don't know whether we should do honey as well. Maybe we should aim for making cereal. If we can make chocolate already and we've got the sugar, maybe we should aim to do cereal. They're all things that I've not really done on any of my Let's Plays, and we have the money. Might do grapes into raisins and grape juice, unless someone brings out a wine production. Maybe there's a biodiesel production, which I'm curious on. We're doing electricity and methane and all that kind of thing. Maybe we should get into biodiesel as well. Probably not have the crops planted for those, but yeah, comment below on things you might like to see done with productions on here, because we've got scope to do lots of things. Yeah, so this is the cow placeable that we're going to put in. It does leave a big blue nav plane, but you can just run up to this sign here and then turn it off. And we need to give them water and feed on that one. It's not plumbed into the mains. And we're going to buy the small beef cow for now, just so we can raise them for selling later on rather than breeding. I don't know if we'll get into breeding the beef cattle. It depends how long we're on here, how long it takes us to earn that £10 million back. But we're going to need to buy a water tanker because they're not plumbed into the mains. So we'll be doing that in a moment. I'm going to get 2 loads. We'll start off with 60, and a bit like the dairy cows, I'm going to spread out when we buy them so that we're getting income progressively. That may not, it's not so essential. It's what I did on Oak Hill, where I was doing beef cattle as the main income, and we needed that regular source of income, whereas you don't really need that on here. I could have just gone and bought them all, but I didn't feel like doing that much driving. May do some more off camera actually. We may fill up some more off camera. So I'm going to put a fence across here. I'm not putting a gate in because we've got rid of all the gates. I'm not going to put the gate in, but I thought we'll put the fence in just for visual effect. And we can use our new shed. Install that here, and we'll head off and get the water tanker. This is one that was just released on Mod Hub. Holds quite a lot. I can't remember. I think it's 50,000 litres. It's just there. And I'm a sucker for a metallic paint job sometimes. So yeah, we're going for the metallic red option. It's pretty garish, isn't it? Oh. And we should be able to fill this up down on the bridge between our grass fields that we own. So yeah, we'll give that a try. That would be good because that gives us a nice free source of water. Just trying to remember how to get there. And I think we'll back the trailer in, and that way we can drive it out. It might be quite heavy once it's full, but this trailer doesn't seem to get into the trigger for the water fill point, and a bit of investigation makes me think that the trigger is too low for the fill trigger for this trailer. So we're going to put in a water hydrant up here and fill from that. And actually at the end of the video I'm going to change this because this is really expensive for water. And our bunker silo has just finished fermenting, given that we've got a water source just down the hill, this thing charges a fortune for water, so I'm going to swap it for Casa Farms water point, which is free to fill from once you've put it in. Give the beef some food. Make a bit of TMR up. We'll just get a couple of bales of hay, and now that the pit has fermented, we can use the silage from that to fill up the feed mixer, which is why we did it. So we'll get a little bit of mineral feed in there for them, and then open up. Oh, I'll do the water first. It takes me a minute to find the trigger for the water, but yeah, it cost quite a lot, so we're going to swap that water point. Because I would quite like to use this trailer for other things, and I don't want to be worrying that we can't dump the water out because we spent thousands of pounds on it. It just seems wrong. Yeah, we can just fill up with the pickup thing on the front. I do love this self-propelled feed wagon. My first time of using them, and it is really good. So we've now got a bunch of grass fields to get cut, and say this one we've done as silage. The other 3 that we've got we're going to do as hay. That will give us a whole load of hay, a literal shed load of hay. Probably get us through most of the year, to be honest. And I've done all of the hay is done with courseplay. So I obviously did the filling of the with silage, but the hay I'm doing all with courseplay. So the mowers are going on courseplay. The tedder is going on courseplay, the windrow is going on courseplay, and the baler is about to go on courseplay. And then I'm going to jump in the Deutz and grab the roll and bale collecting trailer, so we can bring the bales up to the bale shed. And yeah, I'm not going to show huge amounts of this because it just took a really long time. That's all the mowing done and most of the tedding, so we'll get this guy back over to the farm, get it washed and get it refueled. Ended up slowing down time just so that I could get it done in this game day because the weather is not so good next game day, and I'm not worried about time pressure on this game really. So give it a wash, get some fuel in it, and that'll be ready for next time when we need it. See, the courseplay is hammering through the other 3 tractors really nicely, costing us a fortune in wages, but man, it's quicker. And with the scale of the farm that we have on here, there is going to be big elements of using courseplay to get things done quickly, and running 4 tractors at once sped things up a bit. So that's all the tedding done. Got one more field to windrow. Most of this other field is finished with the baler, so we can get the baler over here next, and we're all done. We got a lot of bales off of there. I can't remember if I show how many it was, but look how full that bale shed is. Really pleased with that. 700,000 litres of hay was that in storage, and again we can use our new shed. So before we finish up, we're going to take the slurry that's in the cow pen, get that moved into the BGA and replace the water point. So this is Casa Farms water well, which is much cheaper and has free water. So there's about 14,000 litres of slurry in there. We may as well get that moved across to the BGA and processing into digestate, and I think we'll call it a day there. So thanks for watching, folks. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, leave me a comment, and if you're not already, click subscribe and turn on notifications.